If I could do anything, if I could be anything, if I could be anyone, what would I be? Who would I be? What does that look like? How much money is in your bank account? What are you doing on a day-to-day? How do you travel? So a question that we get a lot, and something that I think is important to touch on, is where does one start, right? There's so many people that look up to us, that listen to our content, that watch our videos, that are college students, that have full-time jobs, that, see the way that we're living and vision it as unattainable, vision it as impossible. So I want to create this video for the people who are unsure where to start, unsure how their lives could be better, unsure how they could be happy, unsure if they could. And I just want to bring in some Bob Proctor inspiration, as well as kind of our own stories. But I was miserable in college. I was on Prozac. I had, a borderline eating disorder. I was super anxious, unhappy, and definitely not excited about anything that I was really doing at the time, except for, maybe posting a fire Instagram photo here or there.
I ate Instagram.
And it really wasn't that
really,
good.
in hindsight.
We've improved a lot.
In front of the Bentley wall.
Yeah, it's not that great. Exactly. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I don't know how to even start living a better life, this video is for you. And I think the first step is to, one, sit down and daydream. Let your imagination go to, if I could do anything, if I could be anything, if I could be anyone, what would I be? Who would I be? What does that look like? How much money is in your bank account? What are you doing on a day-to-day? How do you travel? And write these things down. And in very Bob Proctor fashion, write them down in the present tense, right? I am so happy and grateful now that I travel once a month. Now that I'm making 50 grand a week. Now that I'm walking in New York Fashion Week. Whatever your deepest dreams are, write that down in the present tense. And step 2 of part 1 is to really not only say these things, not only to write these things down, but connect with the feeling of it. Connect with what it feels like to experience that accomplishment. I want you to, and this is going to sound kind of hippie woo-woo, I want you to imagine that this reality already exists. And all you need to do is tap in to that version of yourself in order to get there.
Oh, you're getting real hippie on us.
Yeah,
real
hippie. It's important because your belief and your imagination has the power to manifest the reality that you want. So before, you start attaining financial freedom so that you can pursue your goals, I think you need to know what your goals are.
Yeah, and I think if we want to break that down,
Please.
it's easy to, well for me, like I was constantly dissatisfied with, I was broke forever. I was broke my entire life, like always like scraping up change and worried like, oh, is this debit card purchase of groceries going to overdraw my account and give me a $30 fee and tear up my week, right? So I was always dissatisfied with that. So something that I was really only able to do when I moved out of my parents' house and college, but you could do in either of those places, but just like removing myself from that made me do it, is I just put on headphones and put on a little music, and I just like allowed all the dissatisfactions to come up. And I was like, I hate that I'm broke. I hate that it's always freezing in this house. I hate that I have to live with this cat, and I'm allergic to cats. And I don't like how there's one bathroom with 3 people in here. And I just let them all come to the surface.
Yeah.
And I feel like people think that's like a bad thing when you kind of complain about something. And if you're doing it all the time, it is. You're a negative Nancy, and you need to fix your life because no one wants to hear about that shit. But when you're first doing like this kind of exercise, you let all those things come up, and then you start shifting them. You say, well, what would the opposite of that would be? Like, what would I want? Right? Well, give me 4 bathrooms.
Right.
Give me no cats at all, or exactly. Give me warm weather. Give me a big yard or whatever. And then you start imagining all the things that you do have, and when you get in that state, you almost start they just kind of compound on each other. They're like, oh, like, I want that pool. What if I also had a hot tub? What if they were both salt water hot pools and hot tubs? And what if there's a slide that came down from the master bedroom? And what if the master bedroom, you know what I mean? And your mind just goes crazy.
Exactly.
And then on top of that, a lot of times things turn out better than you even imagine. Mm-hmm. So when you let your mind go, it's just astronomical. Like if you went on a chart, like it's just off the charts of how much you can achieve and attain and be. And it's just starts with identifying what don't you like?
Exactly.
And just sitting down and being quiet with yourself.
But that stark difference is not just recognizing what you don't like about your life. Because there's so many people, I have conversations with friends. I don't want to have to pay my parents, you know, I don't want to ask my parents for help with groceries. I don't want to work for somebody else. I don't want to work on weekends. It's important to recognize the parts of your life that you don't like, but shift the focus. What do you want? What do your days look like?
You have to think about what you do want, but you can't know what you want without knowing what you don't want.
Absolutely.
The issue is that people dwell on what they don't want. And they're just like, oh, I'm always so sick of this Boston winter cold. I'm just so tired of it. Just can't stand every fucking winter.
Yep.
Dude, it's not just going to get magically warm in December in Boston. It just doesn't do that.
Exactly. And then you can realize, okay, maybe I want to go live in Florida for a month. Okay, right? What do you need to do to get there? And that's the next step. Now that you have established huge goals, now that you know what you want to do, how you want your days to look like, what kind of difference you want to make in the world, what kind of career you want to have. Now it's an important step because I think a lot of people can get overwhelmed. Oh gosh, I got to do this. I got to do this. Oh, I want to start my own company. I need an LLC. I need a bank account. I need to hire people. Start with one thing. Create the list or know what you need to do and lay one brick down every single day. Take one step. Make some movement forward. And then just chug the fuck along.
Yes, the Kaizen principle and compound interest principle, right? Like you can see a lot further when when you're standing on 10 bricks than 1 brick and 20 bricks, right? And those build further and further and faster and faster. And that eventually puts you in a spot where you can actually achieve what you want to do and do what you want to do. Book the trip you want to go on. Book the hotel that you actually want to stay at, not stay at some shitty motel that's off the side of the highway. Nah, man, like stay at the Four Seasons, the Ritz, down in Fort Lauderdale, and go order all the pina coladas.
Exactly.
Not worry about the tab.
Exactly.
Because you got a credit card with a high limit, and you're getting paid today.
Yes, and that's why I think that before attaining financial freedom, before taking our course on how to make $10K a month, you do need the mindset. You need to set your mind on what you want and what it feels like to be there. Because from there, you're going to have that drive, you're going to have that initiative, but you're also going to have that confidence in yourself that you can do it. And from there, the rest is history. Good luck.
Have fun. See you on the other side.